Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. What's up? It's your girl Fee here, and today I'm going to give you the top 5 tips on what you need to do before you start a podcast. Got my notes, and let me just give it to you. It's not even in any particular order. This is not step 1, step 2, step 3. It's not like that. It's just the 5 things that I feel like one should do before starting that podcast. Number 1, what is your show going to be about? So content. Is this just a show about how you and your friends talk, chit chat? Like, how many episodes can you make of that? Is this a theme? Are you talking about cats? I mean, Netflix definitely made a whole series about don't fuck with cats. So it's possible. There's people out there who love cats. So it's possible to make multiple episodes about cats. But you need to hone in on what your show is going to be about. And first of all, it could be about anything. You could change it at any time because it is your show, unless you sell it, but don't do that. But in the beginning, you need to figure out what exactly you are going to talk about and sit down and figure out how many episodes you can create off this topic or theme. That's number 1. Number 2, what will your unique name be for your podcast? So my podcast name is Salon Talk Podcast. It was a list of names that we had, and we ended up with that one. And it's a good top show name because the theme of our show is to bring the talk out of the salon and into your ears, to your home. So the things that we talk about are a lot of things that we talk about during the hair process, barbershop process, because y'all talk in the barbershop too. And we take those taboo items and bring them to the podcast. So just in case you're not subscribed already, Salon Talk Podcast, subscribe on all platforms. So you must have a unique name that once you apply for all the platforms for your podcast, there's not another one, basically. You want to go over there and search whatever your podcast name is, and your podcast shows up, not 3 podcasts, and you have to figure out which one is yours by the artwork. You also want to make sure that name isn't used on social media. So you don't want to be Joe's Experience as the podcast and then Experience Joe podcast on Instagram and podcast Joe Experience on Facebook and then Experience Joe Experience on Twitter. You want to search to make sure your name can be used on all 3 platforms, and it's not used in the iTunes is basically the place that you should look. The iTunes library, podcast library, and see if your podcast name is already used. Otherwise, back to the drawing board, get you a new name, make sure it's unique. Next, number 3. Are you capable of handling editing, recording, posting, all that jazz? Can you handle that? Or do you need to go to a studio? Trust me, it's nothing wrong with going to the studio. We started at the studio. We're still at the studio. I don't have time to edit. I don't have time to make sure the volume is high, the levels is right. Like, that's not in me. I don't got that. I don't got a mixer. I don't have that talent. I have the gift of gab. That's all I got. So we go to the studio, we record there, they edit it there, they send us a file. So are you capable of doing all of the background work, the editing, the levels, the blah, blah, blah? If not, you might want to decide on hitting up the studio. Because, I mean, granted, there's a lot of podcasts that hits you with the, starting from the bottom, now we're here, the volume was, the audio was trash, but now we're better. I mean, you could go that way, but I would highly suggest practice. Which leads me to my next one. Number 4, practice. You might want to create some outlines of how you want your show to go, and then practice. Practice, practice, practice. Honestly, unless you were already in radio or TV or any type of media, you cannot just come on and talk. You're gonna fumble every time. That's a jewel. Actually, that was not even on my list. I'm gonna just get that one for free. That was a jewel. Number 4. So number 4, what funds do you have to allocate to this podcast? Because as number 3, we talked about either you're going to go to the studio or you're going to do the editing yourself. Now, if you go to the studio, you're going to have to pay the fee for whatever the hourly fee is for the studio, which, I mean, could be offset with sponsorships or ads. But you will have to pay a fee, because I don't know any studio that would do that for free. If y'all know one, let me know. Let me know. So you either need to have funds available for studio time, or you need the funds available to purchase the items necessary to edit, to record your podcast, mics, mixers, all that jazz, laptop if you don't have one. So what funds do you have allocated to this podcast? If there is none, number 5. So number 5, what's gonna be on your show? Are you gonna do the show alone? Are you gonna do it with a co-host? Are you just gonna have random people on with you that you talk to? Are you gonna be an interviewer? Are you gonna have guests? What is your show going to be? What's the flow? Who is gonna be there with you? Is this person a fill-in? Is this a permanent position? Like, you want to create consistency with the voices on your podcast, so people are familiar with who is who and who's talking when they're talking, because you're going to be introducing yourself and the people on your show every episode if there's no consistency. So here are the 5 things that I think personally, and Salon Talk has been going strong for 3.5 years, going on 4. Again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe right now. I'm gonna put the link in the bio for all the platforms. Just subscribe, okay? Take a listen, circle back, and we could discuss more. But here are the 5 things that I think that you should do before launching your podcast. I gave you an extra little nugget, so it's really technically like 6 things, but you get the point. Either way it goes, these are the things I think that you should do thoroughly before you launch that podcast. Now, don't quit your job. Start podcasting. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Especially if you don't got all the 5 things I just mentioned in order. So, money, practice, content, name. What was the last one? Oh, consistency. So if you don't have those things in order, do not start that podcast. Go seek help. Go seek advice from somebody else who's probably already doing it. Nothing's wrong with that. Most people in the podcast community is very friendly, and they will help you through the steps. I do think I'm going to start an ebook though. A little cheap joint, because podcasting can be, kind of pricey. But I started all my things. I did all of my background stuff, except for the editing of the podcast, and I think we're doing pretty good. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you like this type of content, let me know, because basically I'm just trying out what's good with y'all, like what y'all want to see. If you have any more questions about podcasting, put it in the comments. I'll check it out. Again, I reply back to majority, if not all my comments. If I miss one, let me know. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Turn on your push notifications, because one more time for the people in the back, I don't know what day I drop my videos are going to be on. It has been weekly, but I don't know what day they're going to be on, because life is crazy. And come on, coronavirus. So make sure you thumbs up this video. Leave me a comment about anything you have to ask about podcasting. The Salon Talk podcast links will be in the description. Make sure you click the link that goes to your device and subscribe. Subscribe to this channel. I am BTV, and I'll check y'all out later. Peace.